Hello guys, hello guys, hello guys. I don't know if my camera is well here. Hello. I'm going to be answering this question here that says determine the equation of f of x. So we are looking for the equation of a hyperbola function. We can see that it's a hyperbola function. How do we know? We see the two asymptotes there. We see the horizontal asymptote. We have the horizontal asymptote here. The horizontal asymptote. What else do we have? What else do we see on our graph? We also see the vertical asymptote here. The vertical asymptote. So it is a hyperbola function. Because hyperbola function is the function which has got these two asymptotes, the horizontal asymptote and the vertical asymptote. So when we see the two asymptotes on our Cartesian plane, we know that we are dealing with a hyperbola function. So they want us to find the equation of this hyperbola function. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to write down the standard form. I will call it the standard form. I will say most of the hyperbola functions are in this form. F of x equals to a over x minus p plus q. Yes, the hyperbola function is in this form. F of x equals to a over x minus p plus q. Now be careful of p and q on that equation. F of x equals to a over x minus p plus q. Remember your p and q very well. P and q in the hyperbola function, they represent our asymptote. P is the x asymptote and q is the y asymptote. So what is going to be the value of p? You look at the x asymptote on the graph. The x asymptote is going to be a vertical asymptote. The x asymptote must pass at the x-axis. You see this vertical asymptote pass at the x-axis where x is free. It passes here. So we say the value of p is equals to 3. So you found the x asymptote very easily. You found p, which is the x asymptote. In this case, is exactly the x asymptote. Now, what is q? Q is the y asymptote, a horizontal line. So my q is going to be 2. So p equals to 3 and q equals to 2. So I easily found p and q. I'm getting there. Remember, I want to know the equation of f of x. So what the last thing that I need to know now? I have p, I know q. I have to find a. But let me go back on how I found p. I set p here. Let me need something to highlight it. I said this p here is the x asymptote. So what I want to say is that p is exactly the x asymptote on the plane, exactly the value that you see on our graph, as long as we have got a negative sign here. As long as we have a negative sign, as long as we have got x minus p, the value of p is going to be exactly the x asymptote as you see it on the graph. So let's say, suppose I wrote my equation this way. Suppose I set f of x equals to a over x plus p plus q. Had I used the positive sign between x and p, if I had set x plus p, the value of p, one second into my pen. Oops. Okay, the value of P in this case was going to be minus 3. So if it's x plus p, so when you determine the value of p, you still go to the x asymptote, but you're going to pick a different sign of the x asymptote. In this case, you see the x asymptote is 3 because the dotted vertical line pass where x is 3. So the x asymptote is 3. Now, if we had x plus p underneath a, if we had x plus p, the value of p was going to be negative 3. We're going to use the sign difference from the one that you see on the Cartesian plane. The vertical asymptote, we're going to pick a different sign. So, but because here I use the formula x minus p, p is exactly the x asymptote. So the x asymptote is 3, therefore p is 3. So it was easy to find p and q. You can do this, guys. Finding p and q is simple. Remember, p has to do with the vertical asymptote, the x asymptote. Q has to do with the horizontal asymptote, the y asymptote. Now, after knowing P and knowing Q, you have to find the value of A on your equation. So let me do this. I'm going to say, okay, f of x. Let me update my equation a little bit. I'm going to say f of x equals to a over x minus 3 plus 2. I said P is 3, Q is 2. Now you are almost done with finding the equation of f of x in this case. You just need to find A. How can we find A? Normally this A on our equation, this A that we need to find here, can be found by substituting x and y by any point from the graph. So you go to the graph, you look for any point which you find on the graph. Then go to the asymptote. Go to any point that you see on the graph. So you can come to the point here, let me call it A, this point, which is on the x-axis. Or you can go to this point here, let me call it point B. You go to any of these points. So I will prefer to use the point A. So what are the coordinates of the point A? The coordinates of the point A, because we are on the x-axis, x is 1, y is 0. As long any point on the x-axis, the y coordinate is 0. At all the points on the x-axis, the y coordinate there is 0. So the point A here, x is 1, but y is 0. So now you are going to substitute your x with 1 and your y with 0. Then you start solving for A. Let's go through it and see. So you are going to say, okay, f of x is 0 equals to A over your x is 1, 1 minus 3 plus 2. Then from here, you just solve for A. So let's do it. I will pick, there is a shortage of space, so I will come and write here. Hopefully you will follow. So I will take positive 2 to the left side of equal sign. So it's going to be negative 2 equals to A over 1 minus 3, which is negative 2. So negative 2 equals to A over negative 2. And here you just do cross multiply. So negative 2 times negative 2 is 4. So 4 equals to A. Now what is the equation of f of x? F of x equals to your A is 4. So you say 4 over x minus 3 plus 2. So this is the equation of f of x. You found the equation of f of x. It's very, very, very important to be able to interpret your hyperbola function. What we were doing here, we were interpreting the hyperbola function, whereby we need to come with the equation of the hyperbola function. A lot of information will be given on your graph. So what we need from you is to be able to come with the equation of the hyperbola function. So hopefully it was easy to find, it was easy finding the equation of the hyperbola function. I'm going to just wrap up what I was going to talk about, what I was talking about, or let me say, I'm going to summarize what I was talking about. Let me go back. I am here. Okay, I am. Let me erase. I want to erase some. I want to erase everything. I want to erase this stuff. Yes. I want to erase this stuff. So let's go through it for the last time. Now we are summarizing it. We are looking at the important concepts. What was important when we were looking for the equation of f of x? Go for the asymptote. Look for the asymptote. The vertical asymptote, it is always the x asymptote because it passes at the x-axis. I'm referring to this asymptote here, the vertical asymptote. The vertical asymptote. So go for this vertical asymptote. It will give you the value of p. That is how you're going to find the value of p. Now, sometimes, most of the time, they will give you a certain equation. I will say maybe it's incomplete equation of f of x, where it has got missing values. We are going to give you the equation in terms of variables. Let's say maybe you find that they gave you this. They said f of x equals to a over x plus p plus q, or maybe they can give you and say f of x equals to a over x minus p plus q. They can give you any of these two guys here. And they say find the equation of f of x. So now if they give you this one, work with it. If they give you this one, f of x equals to a over x plus p plus q. If they give you that one, work with it. But what you have to recall is that the value of p will pick a different sign of the x asymptote. So if the x asymptote is free, the value of p is going to be negative 3, as long as the sign here is positive. Okay? So if they did not give you any of these two, use this one. Always go for this one. Use this one here. Sometimes they give you this incomplete equation, whereby you have to find a, p, and q. Sometimes they can give you this one, or they give you this one, or they don't give you the equation at all. They just say find the equation of f of x. If they don't give you anything, use this one. But in this case, p will be exactly the x asymptote as it is on the graph. Don't even try to change the sign, as long as you have a negative here. So now when you're looking for the equation of f of x, we have to agree that you can easily find p and q. This is represented by the asymptote, by the dotted lines. P, the x asymptote, q, the y asymptote. Now, how are you going to find a? To find a, use any point on the graph. Now you are going to use one of the important mathematical ideas, especially as much as functions is concerned. We say x, the variable x, and the y can be substituted by any point on the graph. Just pick any point on the graph and substitute your x and your y and try and solve for a. Then you will have the equation of f of x. Okay.